A while ago, I discussed my Lagrella the Magpie deck and talked about Artisan Commander, where every card must be a common or uncommon. I talked about how there are a lot of good cards hiding behind all the flashy mythics and the busted rares, and at the end I mentioned how even though that deck got taken apart, I had been putting together other possible Artisan lists in the future. Well, my friends, I did just that, and one ultimately made it to the table. A little friend named Black Waltz No. 3. Who arrived and blew me out of the water with a fast-paced, spell-slinging deck that came to throw haymakers and draw cards, and it was only warming up. Mortals, immortals, and friends from the blind eternities, my name is Samson Loreseeker, and today we are revisiting the Artisans with the Magpie 2, Black Waltz Boogaloo. Black Waltz No. 3 is an uncommon commander from the Final Fantasy Universes Beyond set, which introduced 175 new legendary creatures to the format. Beyond all the VVs and the Sephiroths, there were dozens of uncommon commanders with simple yet effective designs. The Emperor of Palamecia, Zidane Tantalus Thief, Ex-Death Void Warlock. A commander having a simple design means that there are many ways to build them, and this is no different for Black Waltz No. 3. Black Waltz No. 3 merely says that whenever you cast a non-creature spell, deal 2 damage to each opponent. Essentially, a gutter snipe with flying and death touch. Now you usually see these types of effects in more Izzet-aligned spaces, with your Niv Mizzets and the aforementioned Vivi. But changing blue for black opens the door in an interesting new direction, and even in an Artisan shell, where you don't have access to the really broken spells, you can find yourself overflowing with sheer value. First off, you still have most of the payoffs for this type of strategy, as the majority of them are in red. Coruscation Mage, Gutter Snipe, Thermo Alchemist, Firebrand Archer, etc. Even just having one of those alongside Black Waltz means that every spell you cast is a lightning bolt to the face of each opponent. Similarly, you don't really lose out on too much card draw, with cards like Unexpected Windfall and Big Score giving you both cards and also treasures to cast those spells that you draw. But then we get into the more unique synergies and benefits of running black. First off, black synergizes much better with the discard effect attached to red's card draw. For instance, in the format of Artisan, there are 22 legal black cards available with Madness, as opposed to blue's 6, not counting any multicolored spells. Secondly, token producers like Young Pyromancer are best friends with black, able to leverage things like Blood Artists or their sacrifice card draw, like Deadly Dispute, Village Rites, and Corrupted Conviction. Black gives you better removal, and better board wipes at uncommon than blue can give you. And cards like Disciple of the Vault go very well with things like Pitiless Plunderer, Stormkiln Artist, and Mahadi. Then there's black's resilience, able to cast spells like Fake Your Own Death or Not Dead After All to save your commander from removal spells and board wipes, while also triggering them to hit the table for more. Cards like Unearth, Pyretic Rebirth, and No Rest for the Wicked can keep your creatures returning again and again, even if your pieces are removed, something that blue struggles to do in the same shell. Black can also give lifelink to Black Waltz, gaining you 6 life for every spell you cast, oftentimes negating the life cost on some of black's card draw, like Ancient Craving. This can boost you even further ahead, even as you drag your opponent's life totals down towards 0. We also can't forget the combination of flying and death touch, meaning that this little wizard is an expert at taking back the monarchy or the initiative, while also defending it. The list of things you can do with this deck goes on and on. Since Black Waltz says any non-creature spell, and more of the same effect have been printed, you can make them an enchantment deck or an artifact list. Run more black drain spells like Exsanguinate alongside rituals, or take those same rituals and go for a Tendrils of Agony kill. These are all strategies you can achieve in just an Artisan list of Black Waltz alone. My personal list is a bit of a blend of many of these strategies, and despite not going all in on any of them, it still remains an incredibly potent list. In a single turn, I was capable of dealing upwards of 24 damage to every opponent, even with just 2 things on the board. Even going up against some incredibly potent regular commander decks, packed full of rares and synergies, my list was able to hold its own and almost even win on multiple occasions. It's quite impressive what this little wizard friend is capable of. Now, I'd like to shed a little light on some of my favorite cards in my list that proved themselves immensely in practice. First off, Blood-Soaked Insight. With Black Waltz out, any non-creature spell turns this 7-cost card into a 2-cost card that essentially draws 3. The fact that it's a land on the backside is just extra help that can fix your mana on crucial early turns. The fear of burning alive from Duskmourn is another overachiever, as if you hit Delirium, which is incredibly easy to do in a deck like this, every non-creature spell you cast also becomes a shock for a creature on each opponent's board as well. And if you have more than one Gutter Snipe effect, you can claim board dominance even just by casting card draw spells. Throes of Chaos is another incredible card in the deck, as being able to turn dead land draws into 1 or 2 triggers of your commander is, you guessed it, very strong. And finally, in my opinion, one of the best cards you're not playing, Traitor's Roar. 4 and a hybrid Rakdos for a sorcery from Shadowmoor that says, tap target untapped creature. It deals damage equal to its power to its controller, and the spell has Conspire. Conspire means that you can tap 2 creatures that share a color with the spell, for instance, 2 Pyromancer tokens, and you can copy the spell, choosing another target. This spell has single-handedly turned entire games around by knocking the most dangerous player out of the game. Not only can it take someone's massive creature and make it hurt them instead of you, it also taps down a blocker or 2, enabling a cleaner swing. In a single cast of Traitor's Roar against a counters deck, I dealt 35 damage to my opponent, plus the extra little 2 from Black Waltz. Building the Black Waltz Artisan deck really reminded me just how awesome Artisan Commander can be. Sure, the deck could be even more streamlined and competitive if I ran cards like Jessica's Will or whatever, but that's not the point. The fact that an unoptimized deck running exclusively uncommons and commons can still hold its own against high bracket 3 lists is quite impressive. It reignited the love for Artisan Commander, and I'm once again recommending that you guys give it a try. There are more common and uncommon legendaries than ever before, and with so many of them having fairly open-ended designs, there is so much more space for creativity than many of the more narrow big commanders. The fact that it is also very budget-friendly is just gravy at this point. Give Artisan Commander a try, folks. The results may be electrifying. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. This video was a bit shorter, but I wanted something light and easy to make, and I figured making good on a promise from my second ever video would be a fun idea. Artisan Commander is incredibly underrated, and I love talking about all sorts of oddball cards that find very good homes here. But as always, thank you for tuning in, and if you made it this far, please comment your favorite uncommon commander down below. Drop a like, subscribe if you haven't, and I hope to see you again soon. And until next time, take care of yourselves, everybody.